Urquhart Stewart joins us now, economist and chairman of the regionally investment platform. Good morning to you, Justin.
Good morning, Julia.
As always, we've yapped too long. I've yapped too long and we're running late. But I want to talk about Neets, not in education, employment or trading. We're up to almost 1 million, about to pass the 1 million mark, according to a new think tank report. And a lot of them are basically claiming they're on the sick.
And this issue here is a classic issue saying, it's my right, I'm entitled to this. But hang on, if you've got a right, you also have obligations. Your obligations to participate and go out and do something. And I'm afraid when people say, but there aren't any jobs around here, well, funny enough, you go somewhere else. And you go and find jobs. And yes, I was hoping to go to university and get a better job. In the meantime, you'll build a building site. And whatever work that has to be. I'm afraid I'm not being silly about it. That's what I had to go and do because I didn't have any money.
I would love to see you on a building site. Did you wear your red braces?
Well, no, you weren't called Justin, you're called John, and Urquhart Stewart doesn't get on terrible either, so it's just John Stewart. But I did end up getting elected as shop steward for UCAT, the Union of Construction and Allied Technical Trades.
Did you?
So I did joined up writing, so that made it a bit easier.
This is a wonderful insight. I wish we had longer. But the reality is, look, this is going back to, to levels we haven't seen for more than a decade. And an awful lot of young people just got out of the habit of work. They got out of the habit, frankly, of leaving the sodding house during COVID. Boris Johnson's still on my television screen, justifying what he did to young people during lockdowns and COVID. But the Resolution Foundation say the young are becoming increasingly detached from the workplace. But even when they do get a job, they're often working from home anyway.
Well, that's the issue, but you have to therefore make sure there is some discipline behind this. Yes, you're entitled to something, but not everything continuously. You have to go out and go and find some work. So after a while, whatever benefit you were getting, it runs out. It's not just a never-ending pot that goes through. And if people say that's unfair, well, I'm sorry, we've only got a certain amount of money. And so therefore, you've used up your bit now. I'm afraid I do not get this idea that I have to actually get a job round the corner. Dear old, as we remember, a certain Conservative minister on your bike, and that's exactly what you have to try and do.
I can remember in 2011 when we had those riots in London. I think David Lammy coming on my show at the time. He was the MP for Tottenham, and he was saying lots of young people around here and they haven't got any jobs. I mean, they're on a direct tube line into the West End. I passed 5 different cafes or, sandwich bars and coffee bars saying desperately needing staff. Why can't they get the train or the bus down into town and get a job? It's only a couple of miles. And, apparently they can't. And you just think, oh, come on. If you want to work, you can get a job. Here's the thing, though. I don't even think they should be entitled to unemployment benefit even at the beginning. I think it's up to parents to make sure your kid's got a work ethic. And if they haven't got a work ethic, you're going to be paying for them. I think that might focus minds more.
I think much more. And you just go back, do you remember about 30, 40 years ago, that series, The Boys and the Black Stuff? That was when we were the labourers of Europe, go and get a job in Germany because you couldn't find to get jobs here. That's what you have to go and do. And I'm afraid you have to swallow your pride. You're quite right. Parental discipline, you have to work to go out and participate properly in society. I'm afraid our social support it's a safety net, not a mattress for you to lie on. And to be able to therefore go out and make sure, create some wealth. By the way, when you create wealth, you actually be able to create tax too. Tax does not create wealth. It's the other way around.
It's the other way around. Well, as we now know, because we've got the latest UK government borrowing figures for September, it hit the highest level for the month in 5 years. More pressure on Rachel Reeves ahead of that budget next month. But public sector net borrowing rose to 20.2 billion for the month. It's 1.6 billion higher than September the year beforehand. This is rising debt interest costs, pay rises, of course, national insurance extra costs, and of course the inflation, meaning pay rises, and of course a minimum wage going up as well, and general inflation increasing the government's day-to-day running costs. And, of course, our debt repayments going up. We are literally running to stand still. In fact, we're running to go backwards now, aren't we?
You also go back only about 5 years ago. Our interest payments on our debt were about 50 billion, which is around about the same as our defence, which is rather worrying. It's now over 100 billion. Yeah. That's just before you even actually just get anything else done. That's the interest you've got to pay on your credit card for doing it.
Now, we're not paying anything off.
No, no, we're not. And it's all we're doing at the moment is that we've been through this fudge of having quantitative easing. But actually, what we now have to try and do is, and this is where we do need, as Philip was saying earlier, our Chancellor does need to require a couple of rather useful parts of her anatomy, or my anatomy, and to be able to therefore go out and say, you're right in this budget. It didn't work last time. Items have changed, and therefore I'm changing, just as John Maynard Keynes, the famous economist, said, when facts change, I change. Do you?
Yeah.
And what you should say now is say, actually, I'm going to have to go back on what we said on the manifesto because all the other taxes are irrelevant. It's basically only going to be income taxes going to be one they can hit broadly. And don't go for a small amount. Make it big. And make it big now. Because
well, I'm not sure the voters are going to like that. But there we are. Justin Urquhart Stewart, great to talk to you. Thank you very much. Wonderful insight into his past. We're going to talk to the